She was a young grandmother focused on her family.
If you were a friend or family of hers, there was nothing she would not do to help you.
She was always just jolly and happy.
But a rocky past puts her in harm's way.
She was a survivor of drug abuse.
She was trying to get her life straight.
When she mysteriously disappears, her family is afraid for her safety.
I'm asking God daily, where is she?
Bring her back to us.
But soon, dangerous secrets will be revealed.
I never thought nothing like this would have came about.
She got caught up in it and couldn't break free.
Like, makes your hair stand up.
Dog is like, I needed your help to help me dispose of the body.
I didn't want to believe it.
August 15th, 2012. It's a quiet night in Mishawaka, Indiana, a suburban Midwestern town of 50,000 just east of South Bend.
It's a sister city of South Bend. They're connected to each other.
It's a nice city. There's parks, recreation, that type of thing.
Over on the south side of town, residents Andre Banks and Jean Weaver are hanging out with family friend, 45-year-old Trina Winston.
The two men were Trina's godbrothers, and they had known her family for years.
Her mom took me in as her child, and I accept them as my parents. And Trina and the rest of the siblings, my brothers and sisters. Me and her family, my family, we just grew tight.
We was just laughing and having a good time, you know.
But around 10:30 p.m., Trina gets a call.
They didn't know who was calling Trina, but as soon as she answered the phone, she ducked into her room and closed the door.
A few minutes later, Trina comes back in and announces to her friends that she's leaving.
Where you going?
Out with a friend.
And I said, who are you going out with? And she could not look me dead in the face.
At that point, they weren't sure what was going on. Trina was acting very weird and very secretive.
Trina, what's going on?
Nothing. It's fine. I just gotta go.
She said, I'll be right back, I'll be back.
Okay. Be safe.
That's the last words I said to her, be safe.
Little did the men know that it would be the last time they would see Trina Winston alive. Trina Winston was known for her big heart and bright, beaming smile.
She was a very kind person. She gave from her heart. And anybody that needed something, if she have it, she'd give it to them.
If you were a friend or family of her, there was nothing Trina would not do to help you.
The single mother had raised 3 beautiful daughters with the help of her loving family.
She was pretty tight with her family and her circle of friends. Wonderful mother, fun-loving person.
She would spend as much time as she could with them.
She made sure her kids were always taken care of. Her daughters loved her. And all 3 of them looked just like her.
And at the age of 45, Trina was embracing a new chapter in her life as a grandmother.
She had her first daughter at a young age.
She was pretty young to be a grandmother, but her daughters had started having children of their own.
How you doing? I'm doing good.
Her oldest daughter needed help, somebody watching the kids so she could work. So she went and, she stayed with them a while.
Behave, girls. Okay. Y'all enjoying the puzzle? Yeah.
But the bright future for Trina and her family came on the heels of a dark past.
She was a recovering addict.
The financial stress of raising 3 kids alone had taken its toll, and Trina had turned to drugs to cope.
Her daughter's father was never really in the picture.
She was kind of hurt, and she got kind of stuck in using, trying to numb herself. Sometime it got into where it was just time. We're getting older, we need to do this, And even though I know a person, anybody, if they're not ready, they're not ready.
Finally, after years of relapses, Trina seemed to be in a better place.
I would give her that encouragement, and hug her and talk to her about, I'm there for you no matter what.
Things were looking brighter for Trina, and in the summer of 2011, they kept getting better when she ran into an old high school classmate, 48-year-old Terrence Lee.
They met just in the street somewhere.
Terrence, is that you?
Trina?
It's been years. You look great.
I thought, Terrence was a real nice person. He was a real good basketball player. Very good. He was very popular in school. Everybody liked him. The girls loved him.
I knew Terrence Lee all my life. We lived down the street from each other. My sister got involved with him. They were high school sweethearts for a moment.
Despite the 30 years since they dated, Trina couldn't deny the familiar butterflies.
What are you up to these days?
Same old thing.
It was really in the community, teaching kids how to play basketball at a center, or at a church, preaching.
Like Trina, Terrence also appeared to be in a new phase of his life after a checkered past.
Something happened where he got in trouble with the law.
Terrence went to prison.
There was a lot of things that went down with drugs and, it's just a lot of things that happened.
But with his rocky past behind him, Trina was instantly attracted to the man Terrence had become.
I haven't seen you in a while. Maybe I can get your number. I'd love to take you out to dinner. We can catch up or something.
Sure.
Yeah, just put it in.
She really liked him, and that was it. That was why they connected.
All right, cool.
Soon, the flirtation turned into a whirlwind romance.
She just had this smile about, I have someone.
She fell in love with him. There's a reason why she wanted to be with him. And when he was treating her that way, things were wonderful.
Then, less than a year after reconnecting with Terrence, the couple took a huge step in their relationship.
She said, me and Terrence just got married. I said, Trina. And she said, it's okay. We're going to do, we got a church and we're going to do this. And, he going to be the pastor. I'm going to be the first lady, all this stuff, all these goody plans that she thought they had going on.
They got married at the County City building.
The two were determined to free themselves from their past and stay clean, once and for all.
She said, we're working our program, we're going to meetings, we're positive people.
She was always happy when we seen her.
We were having conversations of, I want to do better. I am doing better.
But now, less than 4 months later, Trina's friends and family find themselves worried sick.
She had left her friend's house late one night and said she'd be right back.
And she didn't come back that night.
I was afraid. She got kind of stuck in something there, the continuance of partying, of using again.
Once detectives dig into the case, they'll discover a love triangle that just may have pushed Trina to the breaking point.
She was blindsided by his betrayal.
She actually didn't know that he was still married.
45-year-old Trina Winston was embracing life as a young grandmother after years of battling drug addiction.
We went through drug addiction, and we went through, getting clean.
Things seemed to only get better for Trina after reconnecting with her high school crush, 48-year-old Terrence Lee.
They ran into each other on the street one day, and she ended up falling hard.
They formed a relationship. They ultimately got married.
The couple was on the road to redemption after both had had brushes with the law.
He had gone to prison when he was younger, and she was a recovering addict.
She would tell us we're going to different church outings and circles, and I thought, well, that's wonderful.
But now, Trina Winston is missing, and her friends fear the worst.
We all praying. Everything's all right. Wonder where she at. Called her. Couldn't get a hold of her.
They were hoping she wasn't using again.
Less than 24 hours after Trina went missing, Andre Banks and Jean Weaver decide to speak with police about their missing friend.
She left, and that was the last time they seen her.
She just disappeared? She left last night, never came back.
Andre and Jean say Trina had been staying at their house the last few days.
She was very tight with the two guys. She called them uncles.
They revealed to detectives that Trina had recently separated from her husband, Terrence Lee, and she was heartbroken.
He had actually gotten another woman pregnant while they were married.
She took it hard.
She was saying she didn't know how to deal with this situation, that Terrence had a baby on the way.
After all the sobriety work she'd done, Trina's friends encouraged her to not let Terrence's betrayal set her back.
We tried to let her know, you don't have to do that. You know, we love you. We want you to, stay here with us. We want you to be safe.
But detectives suspect Trina may have surrendered to her addiction.
Is it possible she's just somewhere coming down?
Maybe OD. It's possible. But she's worked so hard.
She was a recovering addict. News that her husband was cheating on her and having a baby with the other woman could have definitely set her off.
Is there anything else that seemed odd? She did get a phone call. Can't get it out of my head.
She had gotten a call minutes before she left and had hid in a room to speak to that person.
Trina's friends say she came back after taking the call, and they could tell she was hiding something.
Where you going?
Out with a friend.
Her friends could not understand the need for secrecy.
Whoever the caller was, they clearly had upset Trina. But the question was, did the caller have anything to do with her disappearance? Detectives make a note to subpoena Trina's cell phone records.
There's a good chance that whoever called her that night knows where she is.
Did you call Terrence to see if she might be with him?
No answer. But they're not really on speaking terms. So I don't think she'd go with him.
Well, what about this other woman?
I don't know much about her.
Detectives wonder if Terrence's other woman could have found out he was married and wanted his wife Trina out of the picture.
Do you have a name for this other woman?
It's Sarah Callahan. She lives on North Cedar Street. Trina said Terrence had been staying there with her.
Detectives head to Sarah Callahan's home, hoping they can speak to Terrence and his mistress.
This person is the person of interest. We need to find out if he is, in fact, responsible for her disappearance or if she is not around.
We also wanted to find out whether Sarah knew anything about what had occurred.
At this point, police don't know what they have. They have a recovering addict who's missing. They're still thinking she may just be on a bender.
But as detectives track down Terrence's mistress, they'll discover something more sinister is at play.
She said that she didn't know he was married.
No.
She seemed a little deceptive, kind of like she wanted to eliminate the competition.
Detectives near South Bend, Indiana, are investigating the disappearance of 45-year-old Trina Winston.
She'd been missing for a few days.
Trina was a recovering addict, and her family feared that she may have had a relapse or worse.
Her friends thought maybe she was hiding something else, the way she took a phone call in another room and then left.
But who had called her? Detectives subpoena Trina's cell phone records to uncover the caller's identity. While they wait, they head to Sarah Callahan's residence, the alleged mistress of Trina's husband, Terrence Lee.
They were hoping to find Terrence there. He had been staying with her.
The timing is suspicious. Trina disappeared shortly after finding out about the other woman.
Yes.
Sarah Callahan.
Yes. And who are you?
South Bend Police. Is Terrence here?
No. Why? What's going on?
What about Trina?
I don't know, Trina.
Terrence's wife. She's missing.
As I said, I don't know a Trina. And I didn't even know he was married.
But detectives wonder if Sarah is hiding something.
It seemed pretty unbelievable that she didn't know about Trina at all at this point.
Detectives press Sarah for her whereabouts the night before.
She said she didn't know anything about Trina, hadn't seen her, didn't know what she looked like, didn't know the relationship, didn't know any of those things. But you don't just take anybody at face value.
Where were you last night?
I was here.
Is there anyone that can verify that?
No.
What about Terrence? Was he here?
No. As I said, I was home alone all night, and I don't have any information for you.
Though detectives feel Sarah knows something more, for now they shift their focus to Trina's family. Back at the station, detectives speak with Trina's sisters, hoping for some information about Trina's relationship with Terrence.
We were so worried when she missed our call this morning. We call each other every day. read the Bible, say our prayers while we drink coffee and talk to each other.
We've been trying to call her all night and morning, and she's not answering.
I just kept calling and kept calling. I thought it just can't be good.
While Trina's friends had feared that she had relapsed, her sister suspects something far more sinister has happened.
I think it had something to do with Terrence and his mistress. I think something bad has happened to her.
They knew he had gotten another woman pregnant and was still talking to her. They seemed pretty bitter towards Terrence.
Trina's sisters say Terrence's two-timing ways weren't their only concern. They considered their brother-in-law to be a con artist.
He would go around town preaching and talking to youth like he had changed.
Trina's sisters say everyone was fooled into believing he was a reformed man, but they knew the truth.
He supposed to be a preacher, supposed to be preaching the word of the Lord. That just threw me in, too. I'm like, you're not no preacher.
To me, it was all an act.
Trina's sisters say behind closed doors, Terrence had another side.
He's abusive. She kept it a secret, but he laid hands on her multiple times.
Come back here.
No,
Look at me.
I don't. What?
I saw you looking at that guy.
She was getting beat up.
Trina's sisters tell detectives Trina put on a brave face, but in reality, she was terrified.
He was threatening to do something to us. That's the only thing we can think of that would keep her going back to him.
That was the whole thing. And he was doing it mentally, physically, financially.
Thank you, ladies.
Thank you.
In light of this new information, detectives take a closer look into Terrence Lee.
Terrence had been in prison for 20 years when he was younger.
In 1986, he had been given a hefty sentence, but had earned an early release in 2006.
He's a snitch. He turned evidence on a lot of people. He told things on a lot of people, and he worked for the police.
He had helped solve 12 murders.
But it's not the early release that catches detectives' attention. It's the crime.
He was actually a convicted murderer.
If you killed somebody once, then maybe you killed again.
Detectives have just learned shocking new details in the missing persons case of 45-year-old Trina Winston. Her alleged abusive husband, Terrence Lee, is also a convicted murderer.
He had been sentenced to 150 years in prison in the 1980s, but was released after only serving 20 years.
The circumstances of the case run counter to Terrence's new identity as a mentor to troubled youth.
He was in prison before for killing people in the community.
He had been arguing with 3 individuals about drugs.
The scene erupted in gunfire, and the 2 men were killed instantly. A female victim was lucky to survive.
She was able to tell the prosecutor's office what had happened to her and who had done it.
After learning about Terrence's violent history, detectives and officers descend on Trina and Terrence's home with a search warrant in hand.
They came through, cleared the apartment, and verified that he wasn't there.
As detectives scour the residence, they see no evidence of foul play.
There weren't blatantly obvious signs that a struggle had taken place in the apartment. No blood or anything of that nature. The bedding cover was collected in the event that, since it was a dark cover, there was some kind of staining or bodily fluids on it that I could not currently see at the scene.
Perhaps Trina really has just relapsed and is in hiding. However, a document found in the couple's closet suggests something far more disturbing.
We located in the closet on the top shelf of the bedroom paperwork by Trina looking to end the marriage.
She was asking for an annulment, and at that time, she had conveyed her fear of him and asked for an order of protection.
The protection order reveals a distressing account of domestic violence.
He tried to kill her before.
And I thought, well, who is going to contain this killer that we already, spent court time and money and taxes? I mean, it's just the whole thing kind of shifted my mind to think this is the community that I'm living in. And now my sister and my family is being affected by this act of releasing him and knowing that he was a violent person.
The report details the horrific incident.
The two had been fighting over Terrence's jealousy issues.
Terrence, I'm tired of arguing with you.
Come back here.
No,
Look at me.
I don't. What?
I
What?
saw you looking at that
No,
guy.
I wasn't looking at it.
You
It's
were
all
looking
in
at
your
that
head.
guy.
It was all in your head, Terrence.
She said all she remembers is that she was arguing with him.
Yeah, you were.
He strangled her, left her for dead.
He put her in a plastic bag and threw her in the closet.
She said, and the next thing she knows, she woke up and she couldn't move. And that she wiggled and wiggled until she got her hands, loose from whatever was holding her hand. And she reached up to her face because she couldn't breathe. And she said she grabbed it.
When she came to, she had to get herself loose and she took off running.
After the alarming revelation, police are determined to find Terrence, and more importantly, Trina.
They believe Terrence is now on the lam.
The next morning, Trina's phone records finally come through, along with Terrence's.
It seems that he had been the one that called her the night she left after all.
They are also able to establish his current location.
His phone was pinging at his mistress's house, so it seemed like the two of them might be in this together and that she was hiding Terrence.
We went to where the cell phone was being located at through the GPS.
Police descend on the property with guns drawn.
They don't know what they're walking into at this point. They think maybe this couple has done something with Trina, but they don't know what it could be or where she is now.
Stop it, please! Get on the ground!
On the ground, on the ground.
Get on the ground, get on the ground.
On the ground.
I didn't speak directly with Terrence other than giving him the commands to get down on his knees, place his hands on his head, and handcuffing him.
Terrence is quickly arrested without incident.
He was very compliant. He knew we were there for him. He didn't appear surprised that we were there. He's not unfamiliar with police nor being incarcerated, so there was no shock or surprise, I don't believe.
Officers take Terrence and his mistress Sarah back to the station, along with Terrence's car.
It was then taken back to the Metro Homicide garage.
While CSIs pour over the vehicle, detectives speak with Sarah Callahan first.
Why did you lie to us, Sarah?
Lie? Are you kidding me? Look, I don't know Trina. But I do know that Terrence has done something to her. Terrence.
Sarah tells detectives Terrence had come over moments before the police arrived, and she knew something was seriously wrong.
And she asked him, and he said he'd been up all night, it was digging a hole.
What do you mean you've been digging
Don't
holes?
ask
Where is
me
this?
anything else about it.
He basically told her it's none of her business. Stay out of it.
Terrence, tell me what's going on. Is this why the police were over here earlier asking me about your wife? You're married? Tell me what's going on.
Listen.
Sarah says that's when he told her to get ready.
Terrence actually told her, hey, police are going to be here soon. Just be quiet. Don't tell them anything.
Within minutes, police were at her door.
The pregnant 26-year-old appears to be forthcoming, but detectives wonder if she's just throwing the blame on Terrence to save herself.
At this point, they're still not sure if she's involved or not. She could just be playing dumb to avoid trouble.
Look, I don't know how many times I have to tell you. I don't know Trina. And y'all are not about to try to pin something on me because of something that fool did. I didn't even know he was married until y'all told me.
With Sarah denying everything, detectives try their hand with Terrence.
I just want to make sure that we recover her body and we give it back to her family. She deserves that respect. I think you're man enough.
I have no clue what you're talking about. None.
Once in custody, he asks for an attorney and refuses to give a statement.
With Terrence refusing to speak, detectives hope his car will turn up some leads. However, the search fails to yield any clues.
The car and trunk were clean. No blood, hair, anything.
Normally, you've got forensic evidence. The autopsy, this person died from a gunshot. This person died from strangulation. This person died from a knife wound. Here, we didn't have any of that.
We looked for signs of the struggle. We looked for physical evidence. Nothing had been located
We didn't even have the physical evidence that she was even dead.
Detectives are all but certain Terrence is involved in Trina's disappearance, but they'll need proof. And it soon comes from an eyewitness.
It's like, I need y'all help me dispose of the body.
He said he saw her laying there cold and stiff on the floor.
You gotta be quick, man. You gotta be quick.
Stop it, please!
South Bend detectives have just arrested 48-year-old Terrence Lee in connection with the disappearance and suspected murder of his wife, Trina Winston.
Family members have alleged abuse against Trina's husband.
He was just a monster.
He'd been convicted of a murder before.
Detectives have also discovered a document in the couple's home detailing an incident in which Terrence had tried to kill Trina before.
He left her for dead, and he strangled her and put her in a closet. But she got out.
With the ex-con in custody, but refusing to speak, police know they're on borrowed time.
We didn't have someone who actually said they saw Terrence kill her. Our evidence was weak.
The next morning, detectives finally catch a break.
Someone has come forward with information on Trina's disappearance.
Detectives sit down with 43-year-old Steve Willis, a man claiming to be a friend of Terrence's. And he has some jaw-dropping information.
We walk in, she's laying over there on the floor. She's laying there looking kind of pale, real pale, still.
Detectives ask Steve to start at the beginning. He says on the night of the 16th, he and his two buddies, Drew Allen and Mark Raymond, were drinking in the park.
We pulled up behind the park to just start drinking. And Terrence came.
He was a friend of Terrence. He knew Trina because Terrence and Trina had gotten married, obviously, but his connection was with Terrence.
Detectives ask if Sarah was with him.
He didn't know anything about Sarah. He said that Terrence was alone.
Steve says when Terrence arrived, he looked frazzled and started making some outlandish claims.
What's up, man? It's Trina, man. She's dead, bro. What do you mean? What do you think I mean?
He said her body's in my apartment and he needed help to get rid of her body.
Man, stop playing around, Terrence. You think I play like that?
Frankly, they all thought he was kidding. They thought he was blowing smoke at him. And then finally he said, "Come with me."
Come on, man. Man, he's always getting in this.
Steve tells detectives that when they arrived at the couple's apartment, everything took a dark turn.
He took them back to the apartment. They walked in, thought it was going to be some big joke. And unfortunately, they saw her.
You gotta be quick. Oh, no. Oh, my God. No. Man, what is this?
Steve says he and his friends started to panic. And at that point, Terrence demanded their help.
Steve says Terrence ordered the men to wrap Trina in a blanket, so they did.
Come on, get in there, man. Help me lift up, lift up.
Eventually, they managed to get her into the trunk of Terrence's car.
Steve said Terrence's plan was to drive Trina's body to Chicago and dump her there.
Terrence going to take her over here to Illinois because she's going to be a Jane Doe.
But Steve says that while Mark and Drew got in the car to go with Terrence, he had had enough.
He said, "You're my buddy, but no, I'm not helping you. This is wrong."
Steve says that's when things escalated.
Terrence tried to get him to go with him to help, and he threatened him that you're going to end up like her.
He held his ground and refused to go, and eventually Terrence and his friends left.
He got the heck out of there as quickly as he could. The other friend actually wanted to do the same thing, but Terrence threatened him as well, so he didn't.
Detectives can't help but wonder why it took Steve so long to come forward, or why he agreed to help Terrence in the first place.
He was just in shock, and he said he'd never seen a dead body like that. He did not know what to do at that point.
He said, "I can't live with myself knowing what happened here. You guys got to do something."
But detectives still have one more question.
If what Steve was saying is true, then he wasn't there when Trina died. So detectives need to know how he's so confident it's murder and it wasn't an overdose or accident.
He kept saying, "Sorry, Trina, I didn't mean to do this. Sorry, Trina, I'm sorry."
He told us that Terrence had actually said, "I killed her." But he didn't talk a lot about how he had killed her.
You didn't see any blood?
No.
Detectives feel they are finally getting somewhere. They bring in both of Terrence's alleged accomplices, Drew Allen and Mark Raymond.
It didn't take much to get the two to talk to us. Once they realized they have some potential culpability, they told us exactly what they had done and what they had seen.
Both men tell detectives what they remember of where they had dumped Trina's body.
Both knew it was in Chicago on the south side.
They told them they didn't remember exactly where it was, but it was an abandoned house.
According to Mark and Drew, Trina is buried beside it.
They put her up under bushes and old tires and boards and stuff like that. And that's all they would say.
They didn't know the exact address. Terrence is the one who drove, and that's why they had a hard time. They were able to give us some benchmarks of different places that they remember passing. So it allowed us to at least get a general idea of where her body would be.
Given the statement by Terrence's accomplices, detectives no longer believe Sarah was involved.
She had been lied to by Terrence like everyone else. She turned out to be completely innocent.
Detectives asked Chicago police to scour the south side of Chicago for Trina's body and roll the dice on charging Terrence Lee.
Terrence Lee was formally charged with murder.
But detectives will need to find Trina's body to secure a conviction against her husband.
They had FBI and the dogs and everything looking behind abandoned houses, up under boards and tires.
We were telling police departments, if you ever come upon a body, let us know right away.
As the weeks roll by, police get discouraged. Meanwhile, Terrence's attorney puts the pressure on.
In Indiana, if they file what's called a motion for a speedy trial, we have to try that person within 70 days. And if we don't, then they have to be released. And he could be acquitted because of that.
With just 3 weeks until trial, there's still no sign of Trina's body.
That was a rough time. It was really rough for me. I remember having these one-on-ones with God and asking him to reveal, where she is,
As the search stalls, Trina's family suspects Terrence might just get away with murder again.
People were afraid that he would be released.
October 23rd, 2012. 2 months after Trina Winston disappeared, her husband's trial for her murder is inching closer. There's just one problem. Police haven't found Trina.
I prosecuted hundreds, literally, of homicides in my career. That is the only case where I filed charges when I did not have a body.
After 10 weeks with no luck in the search, the tide finally changes.
Police in Chicago received an anonymous call of a suspicious smell at an abandoned house on the south side of town.
They dispatched an officer to go investigate.
He came upon what he believed to be a body.
53, I'm gonna need major crimes.
The body's in a state where she's not readily identifiable.
However, when South Bend detectives learn of the Jane Doe discovered on the south side of Chicago, they suspect Trina has finally been found.
She was discovered beneath tires in the vacant lot.
That was in the same area. Our witnesses told us that they'd taken her.
Dental records confirm the truth.
It comes back that it was Trina Winston.
It just shook me up. I'm just in the middle of the floor and I'm crying.
It still wasn't real. She's actually gone. No, we didn't want to believe that.
While the family reels from the devastating news, detectives and prosecutors continue building their case against Terrence. Unfortunately, when detectives look over the autopsy report, it appears Trina's body offers no clues to her cause of death.
There were no gunshot wounds. There were no stab wounds. We would have known those because gunshots can hit bone. Stabbing, you're going to hit bone.
There is also no clear evidence of strangulation or overdose, making the prosecution's job that much more difficult.
Typically, an autopsy can reveal damage to the bone, even in a case like this one, where the body wasn't found until it was badly decomposed.
However, not in Trina's case.
The hyoid bone from the larynx was itself in too far of a state of decomposition to make that determination.
The toxicology report for overdose also comes back unclear.
The chief coroner came to the conclusion that she had died of undetermined causes.
However, based on where detectives found the body, coupled with the statements of Terrence's accomplices, Trina's death is ruled a homicide.
Why would you dump somebody's body if they die of natural causes? You don't. You do that if you're trying to hide something.
I don't believe that Trina crawled under the tires and then died. Somebody had placed her there. Somebody put the tires on top of her to, hide the body.
But will that argument be enough to secure a murder conviction? On November 14th, 2012, the trial for Terrence Lee gets underway. The verdict will be up to a judge per the defense's request.
They asked for a bench trial instead of going in front of a jury. A jury may have a hard time not saying, well, if you killed somebody once, then may have killed again. And so I think part of the idea was if they do a bench trial, the judge can kind of discount that.
Terrence Lee had requested a bench trial. It's a speedier trial than, say, a jury trial. You have the presentation just as you would in a regular trial. However, the judge, instead of a jury of 12, decides your innocence or guilt.
Trina's former husband seems confident of his chances.
He kept smiling at us and kept laughing at us.
He was nonchalant. Actually, he even turned around and he said, I did not kill Trina.
I wanted to just jump over the seats at him. When I just wanted to put my hands around his neck and just choke him. I wanted to do what he done to Trina. They say he choked her to death. I want to choke him to death.
The prosecution portrays Trina's murder as an all too common tale of domestic abuse.
Unfortunately, like many domestic violence cases, she went back to him, back and forth.
However, Trina had finally had enough.
He realized he could no longer control her the way he was. She wanted to get away.
She had been in the process of filing for an annulment after he tried to kill her once before.
He had strangled her and left her for dead in her closet just a few months prior to her disappearance, but she was able to escape.
But according to prosecutors, Terrence wasn't about to let her go. On the night of August 15th, 3 days after she had moved out, Terrence called Trina and convinced her to meet him.
His cell records confirmed he was the person she spoke with moments before she left her friend's home.
Prosecutors theorize Terrence used Trina's past addiction issues against her.
She would leave for the drugs, and he knew that. And that's exactly how he caught her.
Okay.
Terrence picked her up from her friend's house, and the two went back to their shared apartment. And prosecutors assert that's where he revealed his true intentions.
Look, I want to talk about us.
No, Terrence, that's not why I'm here.
You think you can just leave me?
I can do whatever I want.
You won't ever get away from me.
Statistically, women who are in abusive relationships are most at risk when they try to leave their abuser.
While the cause of death wasn't determinable, prosecutors assert Terrence strangled Trina, just like he had months before.
She was killed in that apartment. 3 people had seen her lying on the floor there. It'd be difficult to kill her in one place by himself, pick her up and transport her to his apartment just to lay her out on the floor, and then ask for people to help to move her ultimately to Chicago. You're not going to do that.
To bolster their claims, prosecutors have Terrence's accomplices testify against him.
All 3 men had very similar stories about what had happened that night, so prosecutors were pretty sure that they were all telling the truth about the murder.
When it's the defense's turn, they do their best to show reasonable doubt.
We didn't have the physical forensic evidence to verify that she was strangled because her body had been so badly decomposed. And so their defense was, Judge, they didn't prove that he killed her.
It's a compelling argument, but in the end, the evidence against Terrence is enough to convict him.
He knowingly killed Trina Winston. We don't have to prove how you kill a person, just that you kill a person. And in this case, that's what we were able to do.
Terrence is sentenced to 65 years in prison. However, Trina's family believes the punishment does not fit the crime.
He gets 3 meals, he talks to people. I truly believe he's looking for ways to get out, and I don't think it's fair.
As for Terrence's accomplices, all were cleared in exchange for their testimonies against Terrence.
They made the decision not to charge them because they had cooperated, and those testimonies were key to getting this conviction.
Meanwhile, Trina's family can only try to move forward, but the grieving process is far from over.
It's good days and bad days, birthdays or Christmas. It's tough for all of us.
He just messed up our whole lives, the whole family.
I think about her smile. Tears come to my eye. I miss her a lot. A lot.
Trina's loved ones hope that by continuously sharing her story, they can prevent others from suffering the same tragic fate.
We started an organization called Hear Our Tears, and it's educating people about domestic violence.
Come to our meeting. Learn about abuse. Learn how to get away from it. Learn how to distinguish the difference.
You know, unfortunately, my sister was taken away by this killer. But at the same time, I felt this great need to have a hub, a place of healing. So we have these meetings and we talk about what is, intervention, prevention, and education to eradicate domestic violence. And I think it takes a community. So I look at the whole picture of how we can, get people's mind to think these behaviors and these acts of generational stuff and hurt and trauma, and how can we as a people come together for a better tomorrow? And we have to start somewhere. Nobody wants to talk about violence and abuse, but we hear it every day. Since we turn the TV or the radio on, that's what we hear continuously, because it's a great need in our community.
Whoever is mistreating you, do not love you, get out. Tell somebody. Quit trying to cover it up. Tell the truth so somebody can help you. Somebody can save your life.
She was a hardworking single mom.
She wanted to be on her own and be responsible.
She was going to school and she was a manager.
She has it going on,
Until one day, it all came crashing down.
There was blood all over the floor.
Was this a robbery gone terribly wrong?
There was potential that this was a home invasion.
Or was it something far more sinister?
I found out he was stalking her.
The investigation would reveal a dangerous secret.
Leave now!
Go!
People observed them fighting before.
The inadequacies of a relationship like that will have you doing things like taking abuse.
I never thought I'd lose one of my own children like that.
December 8th, 2013. It's a chilly Friday morning in Warren, Michigan, a city of 100,000 just north of Detroit.
A lot of people fled Detroit for various reasons. So a lot of Warren's population now are made up of Detroiters who left and decided to reside or move into their city.
At 11:30 that morning, Joanna Jones and her friend Anthony arrive at the home of her cousin, 25-year-old Shalisa Odell.
Shalisa was a single mom working crazy hours, so Jelana and family members would sometimes take her son for a couple days. But when Shalisa didn't check in on him, they knew something was off.
Shalisa? Shalisa? Shalisa!
Hey, look at this.
They removed 2 notes from the front door.
These notes are indicating, I'm sorry, are you mad at me? But it was enough to make them concerned. What could have possibly been the issue? What was going on at that time?
The notes made them think that Shalisa could have gotten into a big fight with someone.
Who's D?
Jamonte, some new guy she's talking to. Shalisa!
We peeking in the windows. Everything just looked normal.
Let's just go around back. Shalisa?
Shalisa?
Shalisa!
The back door was locked. There were no broken windows.
It was very strange for Shalisa to just disappear like that.
However, when Jolana and Anthony find an unlocked window at the rear, she climbs inside.
He hoists me up in there. I just jumped in, started calling her name.
Shalisa?
I'm walking through, I'm looking through the bedroom, the kitchen, and all the other rooms.
At first glance, everything seems normal.
Are you, girl? I just didn't think she was in there.
But then Jolana makes a tragic discovery.
Lisa!
She sees her cousin on the floor with blood everywhere.
When I saw her laying there, I just kind of looked at her in disbelief and shock because she was gone. She was gone, like you could just look. She was gone. And I just started screaming.
Call 911!
Shalisa Odell was a bright light to those that knew her.
She was like an angel. She had a good heart. She was very smart, very pretty. Everybody she came in contact with loved her. She just was a good person.
But her true calling was being a mother to her son.
She was very affectionate. Her time with him was always just fun, laughing and making him feel loved.
She spoiled her baby. Like anything you could think of for a kid to have, he had. And he was just spoiled. That was her world.
Things hadn't worked out between Shalisa and her son's father, 26-year-old John Carlos Johnson.
John Carlos was a player, so friends and family weren't all that surprised when the relationship didn't last.
She seemed to go for that kind of guy. Seemed like the nice guys that would come along, they weren't that attractive to her.
However, John Carlos did remain a fixture in the lives of both her and her son.
They'd broken up, but they still had a child together, and he made some promises that he would take care of their child.
Whatever you need, I got you, okay? Just let me know.
I will.
Do anything for my little man, yeah? Thanks, man.
After the split, Shalisa and her son moved out of Detroit and started fresh in the suburbs.
When she moved, she started over. She found her place.
Shalisa was also settling into a new job.
She recently started at a popular shoe store in town and was really starting to embrace the work.
After only a few months at the store, Shalisa was promoted to manager.
She was making moves to make her life better. She seemed to have been working with a group of people that were good friends with her, and she had a good relation with them and was happy.
Shalisa set her sights on a new career path.
She had went to school for becoming a dental assistant. She wanted to be on her own and be responsible for herself and her child and have an income that could meet the needs of both of them.
Between long hours of work and late-night classes, Shalisa often left her son under the care of her supportive family.
All right. Thank you so much. We always helping her with the babysitting so she could still work.
After several months, Shalisa and her son were finally at home in Warren, and she opened herself up to love again with 28-year-old DeMonte Harris.
They met where Shalisa worked.
It was kind of a professional relationship that turned into romance.
Are you waiting on me?
Of course. I wait all night if you ask me to.
Is that right?
Mm-hmm. He was very attracted to her.
There were definitely sparks flying between Shalisa and DeMonte from the get-go.
DeMonte was the distraction Shalisa needed from the stress of being a single mother who'd gone back to school.
Even though they hadn't known each other very long, their relationship was very passionate. It was exciting.
For Shalisa, DeMonte had the potential to be the one.
As the relationship got more serious, it looked like things were going in the right direction for Shalisa.
But now, 8 months after the move to Warren, Shalisa's cousin Jolana has just found her deceased inside her new home. It's clear Shalisa had been the victim of a violent attack.
I was in shock. I could not believe I just found my cousin like that. And I was, screaming and hollering.
Police quickly arrive, but based on the severity of the injuries, there was nothing they could do.
She had a blunt force trauma injury on the back side of the head, and unfortunately has passed away from her injuries.
With such a brutal crime, police are left searching for clues as to why Shalisa was killed and by whom. Was this a break-in gone wrong or a crime of passion?
Shalisa was found with some bruises. Her scratches looked like she'd been assaulted.
Evidence at that time showed that there was some type of struggle.
Her phone was nowhere to be found. Police knew that was more than just a coincidence.
At the beginning of December 2013, it had been 8 months since single mom Shalisa Odell moved to Warren, Michigan to make a fresh start.
She was going to school. She was trying to get into the medical field.
She was putting down roots and really making a life for herself and her son.
She'd also found love with 28-year-old DeMonte Harris.
They met through work and had only been dating a couple of months, but things seemed to be getting really serious.
She seemed to be very happy, and I was happy. I was happy for her.
But now, on the morning of December 8th, police are investigating Shalisa's brutal murder.
A family member who was concerned, she'd ultimately broken the house, climbed in through a window.
She had found her cousin there in the pool of blood.
When detectives arrive at the scene, it quickly becomes clear that Shalisa had died in a violent struggle.
She had obvious injuries to her head. There was blood all over the floor, and it appeared that she'd probably been beat up.
This could have been a break-in or a robbery. They don't know what's going on. At this point,
near where Shalisa's body was found, detectives locate a possible murder weapon.
Hey, check this out.
Underneath the couch, there was a hammer.
Looks clean.
Let's bag this, please.
We didn't know what caused the injury, but I told the evidence technician, hey, make sure that we take that. It's just kind of weird that it was pushed under there.
In our due diligence, we also we took some DNA from all the blood that we had found.
How the killer gained entry remains a mystery.
There's no indication of forced entry on the side door or the front door.
Is it possible the killer had come in the same way Shalisa's cousin had, in an attempt to rob her, and things went horribly wrong?
There was potential that this was a home invasion where someone had broken in. We looked at the condition of the residence. None of the windows were unlocked in the house, except for one, which was the window that the family member had climbed through.
Detectives also noticed that there doesn't appear to be a phone in the home.
Her phone was nowhere to be found. Police knew that wasn't just a coincidence.
Detectives decide to give Shalisa's cousin Jolana some time to calm down before taking her statement. So they approach one of Shalisa's neighbors, hoping they witnessed something.
She hadn't been in the home real long, so didn't know the neighbors real well. But they did notice that most of the time she didn't have a car, so she was always picked up and dropped off most of the time by a cab.
Well, I know she came in late a lot of nights, maybe around 3 a.m. She woke me up the other night. I heard her arguing with somebody.
The neighbor tells detectives that they also noticed someone else hanging around Shalisa's home.
There was another individual that would show up every now and then at all different hours and maybe even be sitting down the street.
But down the street like he was watching the house?
Maybe. It seemed like she knew him, though.
Now, why's that?
I started talking to him.
Maybe there was someone who had paid too much attention to her. Maybe she had a stalker and they got into an argument.
Did you get a good look at the guy?
No, they were across the street, a couple of doors down.
What about his car? Did you happen to see that?
Not really. It was a sedan, blue. I couldn't tell you about the make.
Detectives now wonder if the man seen watching Shalisa's home is the same man heard arguing with her. Before detectives can follow up on these leads, they now have the delicate task of interviewing the woman who found Shalisa's body, her cousin, Jolana.
now they begin to dig. They want to know more about Shalisa's background and where she was employed. Who are the people that she was involved with? Upon talking to the cousin, they learn about a few people.
We wanted to see if she was dating anybody, specifically find out any ex-boyfriends she may have had.
We need to know if there was anything going on in Shalisa's personal life.
She's been dating this new guy named DeMonte.
Do you know where he's at?
I don't know. But you need to talk to him. He was here recently.
Family members had found some notes that were left on the front porch.
Why aren't you talking to me? Do you know what this is about?
I don't know.
It seemed like there may have been an argument, disagreement, which is kind of suspicious.
Could DeMonte have been the mystery man that the neighbors saw arguing with Shalisa?
We couldn't find a phone on her, but she did have one, right?
Yeah, of course. Every time I called, it just kept going straight to voicemail. That's the reason why we're here.
Before detectives leave Joanna, she gives them one more name. John Carlos Johnson.
He's the former boyfriend and father of Shalisa's baby boy.
They'd broken up in the spring of 2013.
According to Joanna, John Carlos accepted their breakup, but held out hope that the couple would reconcile.
He wanted to do everything he could to get a family back together, but she didn't want him back.
She had moved on to a new relationship.
So that leaves detectives with two persons of interest.
When you have a female victim, you look to the boyfriend or you look to the ex-boyfriend.
But what detectives learn next is about to make the list of possible suspects much longer.
Might be somebody at the club.
The club?
The one that she worked at.
Turned out Shalisa had a second job to make ends meet.
She was employed at a gentleman's club.
There could be people that are targeting women that work in these clubs.
Warren detectives are investigating the murder of single mother Shalisa Odell. They have just learned from her cousin that the 25-year-old was a dancer at a local gentleman's club.
That actually raised red flags for the police because they know from experience that these clubs tend to draw an unsavory character, right? Potential stalkers.
Maybe the man sitting outside Shalisa's house in a car on multiple occasions was a customer from the club.
Do you know if she had any trouble with anyone from the club?
I don't know. She didn't really talk about it much.
She had an attitude of, this is not going to be a permanent thing. That was her source of income to help, take care of the baby and pay for whatever she needed.
That evening, detectives drive to the club where Shalisa danced.
They need to know what happened at the club. Who saw something suspicious? Who were the people that frequented there?
They start with the manager, who tells them that it's been several days since he's seen Shalisa.
She had last reported to work on the evening of the 3rd. She left the club and nobody had seen or heard from her.
What about her boyfriend? Did he come in here a lot?
Yeah, DeMonte. He's a regular. Kind of works for me.
He was a promoter. Apparently he had promoted at the club.
What about her ex, John Carlos?
That fool, man. I had to kick him up out of here.
He showed up around Halloween time wearing one of those scary masks.
She said, "You're scaring the girls. They're freaked out." They knew it was him, but they said that they always thought he was a little bit off.
Come on, y'all didn't think that was funny?
Go now!
What are you doing here?
Come on, it's just a joke.
You're gonna get me fired.
You know I don't like you working here.
That's not up to you. Just go. Go!
Shalisa.
When detectives talk to the dancers, they share similar stories.
Yeah, I was here around that time, Halloween. I don't know what he was thinking.
What about DeMonte?
Yeah, he's in here all the time.
The manager said that he had some pretty big plans for Shalisa.
He was trying to get her to quit her other job, dance full-time, maybe even take her on the road.
However, the dancers also mention one regular whose interest in Shalisa may have crossed the line.
We were able to establish that there were a couple patrons that may or may not have paid extra attention to her.
She's pretty, she's smart, she's nice. She was very popular there.
Thank you.
No problem.
Men can become obsessive with women that work in these clubs. Sometimes they can feel like they're in a relationship and they're really not. Maybe it could be someone that was in the club that would think that they had a relationship with Miss Odell while she was there.
So did Shalisa ever have any trouble with any of her customers? Any type of fights, altercations?
No. Not that I know of. You know, she had her regulars just like all my other girls do.
The manager gives detectives the name of one regular in particular, Ben Jones.
This was an older gentleman who had frequented this club, who had apparently grown very, infatuated with Shalisa.
He would come in the club and watch over her the entire time while she was there, like in a creepy way.
Detectives are able to locate Ben Jones, and he agrees to come to the station for questioning. Once inside the interview room, Ben insists that he was very fond of Shalisa, but he would never harm her.
He wasn't interested in her in that particular way. He said that he just was lonely and she was able to talk to him, and that was all it was.
She was a nice girl. She had a lot of things going for her. I can't believe she's gone.
Did she ever talk to you about having any trouble with anybody?
She talked about a guy named DeMonte. I seen him around some, but they've been dating a while. She said he was pushing her to dance more. Talking about he can make her rich if she just let him manage her.
What'd she say?
She said she was gonna quit once she finished school, get a good job, one that lets her come home to a little boy at night.
Detectives wonder what DeMonte thought of that plan. Maybe Shalisa told him she was quitting and he got angry.
When was the last time you saw her?
Tuesday night.
Did she talk to anyone else that night?
Well, she was getting a lot of text on her phone.
He noticed that she was texting quite a bit back and forth. She started getting to the point where she was getting frustrated.
Shalisa's phone was never located. Perhaps her killer took the phone to hide the texts.
What'd you do after you left the club Tuesday night?
I went straight home.
Detectives don't get the sense that Ben is a killer, but they need to be sure.
They pulled Ben's phone records, and it appeared he was telling the truth. His phone showed that he left the club in Warren and drove home to Birmingham, which is about 30 minutes west, and he never came back.
After clearing Ben Jones, detectives dig into Shalisa's phone records.
We ended up doing a subpoena for cell phone records on her phone number.
All of her phone history and who she had contact with.
In the last few days before her murder, Shalisa had exchanged multiple texts and calls with her family, her son's father, John Carlos, and DeMonte.
Apparently, it was DeMonte that Shalisa was texting late Tuesday night as she sat with Ben just hours before her murder.
Bennett told detectives that Shalisa seemed agitated that night, so they wanted to find out what they could have been arguing about and if the argument over text had become physical.
However, when detectives try to reach DeMonte, he's nowhere to be found.
I would think if someone wants to talk to you about your murdered girlfriend, he'd be a little more interested in showing up.
So now the police are very suspicious.
But detectives also notice another number that pops up often in Shalisa's call log, one they don't recognize.
We noticed that it was quite frequent that she was contacting this same individual, the same number.
Shalisa last called that number around 4 o'clock on Wednesday morning, right as she was leaving the club for the last time.
The conversation lasted about 45 seconds.
And then the phone went dead. There was no longer any type of communication with it.
Could the person on the other end of that call have been Shalisa's killer?
What are you doing here?
Detectives investigating the murder of 25-year-old Shalisa Odell have just learned that Shalisa was arguing over text with her boyfriend DeMonte just hours before she went missing. And now, he too has mysteriously disappeared.
DeMonte wasn't at the club when detectives went to interview co-workers, and he's not responding to any attempts to reach him by phone.
After several failed attempts to locate DeMonte, detectives' next step was to figure out the owner of the other mysterious number that appeared on her call log from the night she was murdered.
Was she arranging to meet this person later? Could they be a witness or possibly even Shalisa's killer?
But before detectives can begin tracking down the mysterious caller, they themselves get an anxious call from John Carlos, the father of Shalisa's son.
He volunteered to come in and talk to us, like initially right out the bat, before we even went to reach out to speak with him.
He was pretty shocked and was pretty upset with the whole thing.
Detectives have John Carlos come in for a formal statement.
He was very soft-spoken, really no criminal history, so there was really no red flags. So we sat back and we took some time and we talked and got some basic information.
All we're trying to do is find out what happened, okay?
John Carlos said he didn't know much. He didn't even know Shalisa was dead. He found out through social media.
I saw on a notification that said, sorry for your loss. And then there I commented, what do you mean loss?
He seemed like he was distraught. He said he's been trying to contact her several occasions and not been able to get in touch with her.
He also said that it had been a while since he'd even seen Shalisa.
Before Thanksgiving or after Thanksgiving? This is before Thanksgiving. So 24th.
John Carlos does admit that he wasn't crazy about Shalisa dancing at the club.
He hated what she did for a living and didn't approve of it at all.
I don't know why she chose to continue to stay in this lifestyle. Okay? This is what she chose.
However, while he may have disapproved of Shalisa's dancing, John Carlos swears he would never do anything to hurt her.
He says, no way was I involved. This was someone he cared about.
Love her to death, you know.
When detectives ask where he'd been late Tuesday evening when Shalisa had suddenly gone silent, John Carlos says he was home all night.
Who is at your home? Who can confirm that? Who was home with you? My mother.
He had a solid alibi. He's kind of distraught. He's seeming like he didn't have anything to do with it.
I said, do you mind if we go take a look in your car? He said, absolutely.
But as soon as the search begins, the investigation takes an unexpected turn.
Myself and Mr. Johnson we walk out to his car and open the passenger door.
Sergeant, you got to see this.
I looked inside and it was basically just covered in blood.
That's our smoking gun. I mean, we got our guy.
It was on the steering wheel, it was on the glove box, it was on the center console.
Detectives couldn't believe it. John Carlos drove his bloody car to the station and even gave them permission to search it.
We were kind of like, this is crazy.
Look, I can explain that. I was playing a little joke.
He goes, that's fake blood, that's fake blood.
He says it was a gag that I did at Halloween time.
I was playing the prank on my girl, right? And I had this mask. It's fake blood, man. Look, just check the trunk, I swear. It's fake.
We checked the trunk of the car and there was a mask in there that had the same consistency of blood that was on the seat.
He said he'd put blood on the mask, and while he was doing so, he'd spilled it in the car.
John Carlos's story seemed to fit what detectives had heard at the club.
What kind of made sense.
Detectives call in the crime scene investigators, who confirm that John Carlos is telling the truth.
It wasn't real blood. It was just costume blood, and we're back to square one again.
It's clean.
Does that mean I'm free to go?
Yep. We'll be in touch.
Hope you find whoever did this.
After the false alarm with John Carlos, detectives are no closer to finding Shalisa's killer. And when they get her autopsy report, the results are equally disappointing.
There was no DNA under her fingernails, like you'd expect if she had fought with and scratched her attacker.
However, detectives also get results from the lab about the hammer found at the crime scene.
It was the hammer that inflicted the injuries, the severe blunt force injuries on Shalisa.
The crime lab figured it out by comparing the size of the hammer to the size of the wounds on Shalisa's head.
They had their murder weapon, but unfortunately for detectives, there were no fingerprints or anything else on the hammer that would lead to Shalisa's killer.
With John Carlos already interviewed, detectives now turn to their only viable suspect, DeMonte Harris.
This is someone that we obviously need to talk to.
Detectives investigating the murder of 25-year-old Shalisa Odell have just had a bizarre interview with John Carlos Johnson, father to Shalisa's son.
We'd taken a look at the car that he arrived in, and there was blood inside of the cab of the car. On the passenger side,
But the police learned from John Carlos that this was just a prank, that he used fake blood. It was kind of strange.
With John Carlos's story about the fake blood checking out, detectives circled back to continue looking for DeMonte Harris, who exchanged several text messages with Shalisa shortly before she died.
It was clear they were arguing about something. Police just didn't know if it could have escalated to murder.
With DeMonte unable to be located, he's high on detectives' radar. As police look for DeMonte, detectives turn their attention to a 45-second call that happened right before Shalisa died.
It was the last call Shalisa made before she died, so learning the caller's identity was top priority for the police.
The telephone number, we were put it into our search database, and we were able to determine it was a cab driver.
Neighbors and family did mention that Shalisa didn't own a car and depended on cabs to get around. There were also reports that she may have been arguing with someone outside her home on the night she died.
However, the number in Shalisa's phone records wasn't for the cab company. It was the driver's personal number.
Detectives had brushed off the cab driver as having any involvement, but now it seemed like he could be a viable suspect after all.
They wondered if the cab driver had some sort of connection to her beyond giving her rides.
Did this particular cab driver have anything to do with her murder?
When detectives bring the cab driver in for questioning, he explains that he and Shalisa had an arrangement.
I've been helping her out. Off the books.
He would take her to Target or grocery store or whatever, and she would just pay cash.
Don't tell my supervisor, okay? I can get fired.
Well, you were giving her some type of discount.
Yeah, she's a nice girl.
He knew that she had a son, and she was comfortable with this gentleman, and he would always respond.
So what about December 3rd? That was the last night she went to the club.
He admitted that he picked her up, drove her to work that night.
But he says he didn't drive her home.
He only worked until 2 a.m., but a lot of times she would get off at 4 a.m.
So she didn't call you for a ride home?
No.
Oh, well, you know, the discounted rate?
No.
He said after the call to give her a ride to work, he hadn't had any contact with her.
Shalisa's phone records tell a different story.
She had spoken to the taxi cab driver at around 4:15 in the morning immediately after getting off of work. So now they're suspicious.
However, the cab driver does offer up an explanation and an alibi.
She called me, okay? She left a voicemail about another driver. She said charged her too much.
So she blamed you for that?
Not seriously. I mean, she was just giving me a hard time. I mean, we knew each other like that, okay?
So where were you then?
I was at home, in bed. Ask my wife.
Detectives would need to follow up with the cabbie's wife, but for the moment, they had no choice but to let him go.
All right. Thank you. We will be in touch.
We had nothing else that would connect him to being there the morning that she was murdered.
With another lead gone, there's still one person detectives haven't spoken with. Shalisa's new boyfriend, DeMonte Harris.
This is someone that we obviously need to talk to.
Then to their surprise, out of nowhere, this guy shows up.
But when he finally arrives for an interview, he's not alone.
He did show up with his attorney.
You have to ask yourself as an investigator, what is he trying to hide? Why is his attorney here with him?
Thank you for coming in today.
We're here as a courtesy. My client is innocent.
Well, that's what we're here trying to figure out.
Look, I know what you guys are thinking. I didn't have anything to do with Shalisa's death, okay? I love that girl.
He immediately says, look, this was someone who I loved and cared about.
She really stood out from the rest, man, and she could have been a star with the right kind of direction.
Detectives couldn't help but notice that DeMonte seemed enamored of Shalisa's money-making potential.
And if what Ben told them was true, she was thinking about quitting the club, and that could have angered DeMonte.
When was the last time you talked to her?
Like late Tuesday, early Wednesday, I guess. I texted her about coming over, but she said that she was going to go home and just go to sleep. It's the last I heard of her.
And you didn't go over?
No. Well, not until the next day.
He stated that he tried to call her and text her, but he didn't get any answers. So he went over to her house and left 2 messages on the door.
I thought she was mad at me about something, man. I had no idea she was dead.
Where were you Wednesday morning, early, around 4 a.m.?
I was just hanging out with a couple guys I know. Charles and Ray Ray. I got their numbers if you want to call them.
He had everything lined up. He had alibis.
He also has a suspect for detectives.
You know what? If you really want to question somebody here, you should check out John Carlos.
DeMonte says that according to what Shalisa told him, her relationship with John Carlos had been a nightmare.
He was demanding. He was controlling.
DeMonte also claims that John Carlos had been violent with Shalisa in the past.
She said he beat her up all the time.
Did she call the police?
No, man. She was too afraid to. That's what she said.
They said Shalisa had moved out of Detroit, moved into Warren to get away from him.
But DeMonte claims that John Carlos wouldn't leave Shalisa alone.
She also said that he came by the house all the time. And I know he came by the club once.
Was this around Halloween?
Yeah. Wearing that mask, creeping everybody out.
DeMonte's story fit what the detectives had heard from others. Not just the Halloween mask, but also the person the neighbors had seen lurking around Shalisa's house.
But is it the truth?
Shalisa never reported that to law enforcement, so he was not on the radar as far as being a violent person.
Detectives end their interview with DeMonte. After checking his alibi, they're able to cross him off their suspect list.
DeMonte's 2 friends confirmed his alibi.
But when detectives follow up with John Carlos's mother, his alibi looks a little shaky.
John Carlos had originally told detectives that he was at home with his mother the morning Shalisa was attacked.
His mother said she'd gone to bed at 8 o'clock at night. He was there, and when she woke up, he was there. So she didn't believe he could have been involved.
But if his mom went to bed at 8, John Carlos could have easily slipped out, murdered Shalisa, and been back at home before she woke up.
Detectives decide it's time to take a second look at John Carlos.
I end up contacting him. I asked him if he would be interested in coming in and talking to me again. And he was almost right away, absolutely, I'll come in and I'll take a polygraph.
The following afternoon, John Carlos comes in for the exam. His pattern of unusual behavior continues when he arrives with one of his son's toys.
As I'm patting him down, he pulled a yellow Lego block out of his pocket.
Tell you what, you hold on to that.
I allowed him to keep it. I had a pretty good rapport with John Carlos at this time.
Then, clutching his son's building block, John Carlos proceeds to take the polygraph.
He's still saying, I had nothing to do with this. I'm not involved in this in any way. I don't know what happened to her.
But there's no fooling the machine.
He failed the test.
He was being deceptive.
Once the polygraph operator informs detectives, they step into the room and break the news to John Carlos.
We know you're lying. Tell us what really happened.
His whole expression changed.
You can tell by his mannerisms that he's ready to just pour everything out.
1 week after Shalisa Odell was murdered inside her Warren, Michigan home, detectives investigating her death feel they're on the verge of a breakthrough.
John Carlos Johnson, the father of Shalisa's son, had just failed his polygraph test.
When detectives told John Carlos he had flunked the polygraph, it appeared as if he were about to crack.
Slouched shoulders, head down. He pulled the Lego block out of his pocket and he was holding it.
He would not let go of that. I think that's his psychological connection to his kid. I'm holding on to my child while I'm talking about my dead ex.
I kept pointing to that to symbolize his son. We need to get closure for your son so that when he's an adult, he's got answers to this stuff. And I think at that point is when he kind of finally, he was willing to admit what he had done.
He says that on December 3rd, he reached out to Shalisa that he needed to meet with her. He wanted to just talk to her.
Did you guys talk? Or did she not answer?
I didn't talk.
John Carlos says that when Shalisa didn't answer, he decided to drive to Warren and wait outside her house.
John Carlos tells police he went over to the house, not with any ill intent, but to try and make up with Shalisa.
Okay. And was she there?
She got there.
John Carlos says he watched and waited while a cab dropped off Shalisa and then drove away.
He jumped out of the car.
Yo, Shalisa.
I'm gonna call you back. What are you doing here?
I just want to talk.
My neighbors. Oh my
Come
God.
on, we go inside?
Fine. Come on.
Look, I got you. Got you, all right?
He was trying to convince her that he wanted to be back with her.
John Carlos believed he was winning her over.
I thought that, things was getting better as far as us possibly making a move towards getting back together.
Instead, Shalisa was trying to end things once and for all.
So, when you gonna tell him?
Excuse me?
DeMonte. You and I, the little thing, come on, you know what I'm talking about.
John Carlos, there is no more us.
He was trying to convince her about getting back together, and she really didn't want that to happen.
I can't believe this. You gotta go.
I'm not going nowhere.
I have to get up.
You told me I came all the way over here? No.
You're gonna get
You're
out.
not gonna say this.
And that's when things got a little heated.
He becomes angry, upset, and he says that she's pushing him out the door.
He says he trips over something, falls down. And he says he looks over to his left, and there was a hammer that was on the floor.
No, what are you doing?
Hit her probably about 2, maybe 3 times.
John Carlos took a hammer and hit my daughter in the head with it.
He didn't think about her life. He didn't think about the child's life. He didn't think about the consequences. He was being selfish. He only knew what he wanted.
You can see that there's no way he's going to be able to clean it up. There's too much blood at this point.
What's the next thing you did?
I panicked.
Okay. Did you clean up the hammer?
Yes.
After you cleaned the hammer, what did you do with it?
I kicked it underneath the couch.
Then he picked up Shalisa's phone, locked the door from the inside, and climbed out the window.
She said when he thought he'd cleaned up as much as he could do, she was still alive. And he walked out on her, which is crazy that he could leave another human being to suffer like that.
John Carlos says he drove back to his mother's house in Detroit, ditching Shalisa's phone on the way.
He threw her cell phone out on 8 Mile Road.
With a full confession on video, John Carlos is taken into custody and charged with the murder of Shalisa Odell.
All right. Put your hands behind your back.
In May of 2014, John Carlos forgoes a trial and pleads guilty to second-degree murder.
I don't think he wanted to put everybody through a trial to have this rehashed out again.
Though at his sentencing, it's clear that Shalisa's family isn't moved by John Carlos's remorse.
He was not sincere. I really think he just was sorry he got caught.
I didn't believe him at all. Not even the look in his eye was serious to me. It was all fake to me.
The judge apparently agrees and sentences John Carlos to 40 years. But the hefty sentence can't erase the senseless tragedy.
Shalisa and John Carlos had a volatile relationship from the beginning. There was constant abuse. When she ultimately broke the relationship off with him and tried to start new, he was unable to let go.
He couldn't have her back, and he made the decision. If I can't have her, no one will.
But I wish he would have just told me how much he thought this guy would do something to her.
And while Shalisa couldn't escape the dangers of domestic violence, her memory lives on through her son.
What really bothers me out of all this is I think, there's a child, their child, that is going to grow up without the ability to know his mother.
She had so much more to offer this world. She had so much more to give her child.